Hi, my name is Sean Legg. I spent 12 years as a firefighter, public service, and we had a saying in fire service. I fight what you fear. When people go running away from burning buildings, people like me go running towards them. Every first responder understands one day they may be called to lay down their lives. That is the oath and that is the calling. But on this day, John Lucas was killed by ambulance crew members who had options, many options. They could have rolled up their windows. They could have locked the doors. They could have called for the police. They could have even used a piece of equipment obviously installed into their vehicle called reverse. Give me a second. Yes. They had every tool at their disposal. Stay safe without harming anyone. Instead, they made choices. They drove over a man. And then they didn't just drive over him, they drug him down the damn road. For 2 miles. Reportedly, dispatchers told them 3 times to stop, and that the dispatchers could hear the man screaming themselves. They knew the man was being dragged down the road. The man was no longer a threat. In a locked vehicle, that's not self-defense, that is murder. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office has pressed charges against nobody. And if I had done this, or if we had done this, we would have been arrested without bond, pending the investigation. And then if they decided lesser charges were valid later, then and only then will we get bond and lesser charges, not sitting on the street while people play politics. That is a dereliction of duty. And that falls on Sheriff Joe Crawford. Many members of the community, myself included, have now lost faith in Sheriff Crawford and his ability to carry out duties in his office. We are calling for an impeachment inquiry. And when we have the vote, we have the voting booths set up already. There's primaries going on. Put it to the people. Let the people decide if he's done enough. Yeah, let the people decide on whether Sheriff Crawford should remain at his position. And for the people and to the people, I say, I fight what you fear. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate your comments. I understand that the family has spoken out a few times since this incident. Most recently, Scott Summers put out on his Facebook page. He's the lawyer for the family. Are you related to the family?
No, sir.
Okay. You understand there's an investigation going on now?
I understand there's an investigation. There's things that cannot be necessarily revealed that could be, but this is not protocol.
Well,
anybody else would have been arrested.
not necessarily. Not everybody is arrested on the day of an incident.
When they drag him down the road and grind his arm off.
I understand your position. But as the family explained, there's an investigation going on, right? There's certain information that you and I and others can't see yet. But there is an investigation, as the family has explained on social media. I suspect you've seen it. There were over 400 pieces of evidence gathered. There is an active investigation, and whatever happens to it, you and I can't decide that. Sheriff Crawford was put in front of the voters. He was put in front of the voters in 2024, and he received 67,138 votes. That's two different elections, 67,000 votes. He's not on the ballot. Now I'm speaking. So he'll be up for election if he chooses to run in 2026. And then the voters can, 2028 rather. And then the voters can decide if he chooses to run. But you can't put somebody on a ballot for impeachment. That's not how the process worked. So you knew that. So the only way to do that, there's a process for it. But it can't be one or two people showing up at a county commission meeting asking for an impeachment when you've got 67,000 who want him in office. And your opinion may change depending on the results of the investigation. Maybe there's an indictment, maybe there's not, right? But that always is decided, typically at this point in time, it would be decided by a grand jury. And the grand jury can do what they choose to do. But we don't know about that process. That too is secretive. So to call for the impeachment of somebody who's in an active investigation seems a bit premature to me.
Yeah.
Sure, come on up.
You mentioned that he received 68,000 votes.
67,138.
1,000 votes in an election he ran unopposed.
Well, no, he actually had a primary opponent and then ran in the general.
But he ran unopposed
in the general. That's right. And people still voted for him.
But this incident has changed a lot of people's hearts and minds. And I've talked to.
And we'll see that in 2028. If that happens in 2028, we'll see. And you can talk, I mean,
150 people, one person has told me that they don't agree with this. And it was only because they said that they knew him.
okay.
Which I told him I know him and I like him and I respect him too. You know, he's been the chief of police in St. Albans many times.
Yep. He has a very long history of law enforcement.
Respect for the man.
Good.
What is the high level of respect is what makes it such a slap in the face.
And when the investigation is concluded and they decide what they're going to do, if you want to come back in, come back in.
Oh, I'll be here. Sure.
We'll see you then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tom. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Rio Phillips. I am a Canal City resident, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate as a Democrat here in West Virginia. I come here in support of my friend who is suffering, who I believe is speaking on behalf of the number of people who are suffering in LP right now. Now, I understand that it is seemingly combative to call for the impeachment of someone in such a time as an investigation. However, it is quite clear to me that should there not be charges, the community is going to be insanely upset. I do urge that on some level justice be served here, because I can see the boiling pot, as it were, out in Elk here. I see the videos, I see the action on the ground, and people are very, very upset. A lack of charges would be like a lighter to a powder keg. And that is not what I want for West Virginia. What I want is peace. What I want is civility. What I want is a continuation of consistent justice for all citizens, whether they be employed by the state or otherwise. And I don't think it is fair to expect that. Unfair, rather. I apologize, to expect that at this time. That is essentially all I have to say. But I will say this: should there not be charges, I can assure you that I, as a citizen, will be gathering a lot more citizens to call for the resignation of any public official that did not call for accountability or justice in this situation. I'm not currently making that move. I'm saying that I'm afraid we have some accountability and some justice, and that level of things is not necessary. However, this is quite clear to me that if we don't have any charges, you yourselves and the sheriff's office are putting the lighter to the powder keg. We
You
all
under-
saw the video.
You understand that there are, according to the family, and I'm just.
We all saw the video.
You saw, how many
Yeah.
videos have you seen?
The surveillance video where they stopped and could have gone in reverse.
I understand.
So
How many
this is
videos?
what any sensible, if I may.
How many
this is what any
videos have you
sensible
seen?
West Virginia you've done is
Okay.
gone in reverse.
Okay.
Period.
And all I'm
then called
asking,
911 for backup and protection, if that's what they needed, if they couldn't get it on the radio.
and,
My
and
point is, it's quite clear. I don't mean to speak over you, but it is quite clear that the option to go in reverse was there and they did not take it. And this is extremely disturbing footage. We are on the, I would say, on the verge of a national scandal if we do not actually serve justice here. And that is the last thing I want for Kanawha County. So again, I'm just speaking as I believe my supporters and my constituents would have me speak. So
constituents?
yes.
Okay.
Across the state.
All right. You understand there's a criminal investigation.
I do, but we're 3 weeks out, and I do believe in my heart that any other resident having been in that driver's seat would have been arrested. And what I'm going to say is that there appears to be some level of protectionism taking place, and there needs to be expediency, which there has not been. There needs to be justice served immediately, and there has not been. So I'm here to push the ball forward in those arenas because it's 3 weeks out. The boil just continues. The
Well,
frog is about to jump out of the pot, and the last thing I want is for chaos. And it's clear that there's some boiling chaos in Elkview. So we need to address this head on.
okay. Let me just say that the family has spoken out, and you're not a family member, are you?
No.
Okay. And I'm sure you've read their accounts and
I have.
and the evidence that
I've read as much as I feel I need to stand here before you and listen. We're 3 weeks out. This is a
Okay.
delay of justice. This is.
I understand we're 3 weeks out.
I feel like if it's not served quickly, we will all be suffering for it.
I understand. Do you understand that there are certain times of the year that a grand jury meets? You understand we don't just keep grand juries here in the courthouse,
sure.
right? And to bring in a grand jury takes time. You understand that can't happen in a day or a week or more. You understand that?
Yes, I also would say that any standard West Virginia citizen that had driven over another human being would already have been put in cuffs and allowed to be bailed out.
I understand your point.
It's quite clear to me that if you or I had done that, that we would be facing a lot more.
I would ask that you respect the process. I understand you want to see action now. I
Yes.
get that. What I'd like to see is a thorough investigation. I would like to see if it's going to go to the grand. What's the statute of limitation?
I'll deserve a timetable on that.
You understand that we don't do, well, that's not what the commission does. What I'm asking you to do is read what the family put out.
Mhm.
They've seen more evidence than you have. I mean, I think you'll agree with that. You haven't seen 400 pieces of evidence. You've seen a video that you've referenced that was sent to the media. There's a lot more evidence out there. And when the prosecutor and our sheriff and everybody goes through that evidence, and if it's presented to a grand jury, again, that's a secretive process. We can't know when they meet or if they're meeting, any of that. You recognize that? Okay. When that process happens, if it happens, then the grand jury will return or not return an indictment.
I think the people of Elkview will be heard on this.
I-
And it's clear, I think, that my friend and I stand as perhaps the very tip of the spear when it comes to that, in terms of seeking justice for the people of Elkview. They're obviously very disturbed. I imagine there's a lot of folks that would come up here. I literally asked my social media, I said, who wants me to go up there
Mhm.
and call for the resignation of people who are not calling for justice? And you would not believe the response. I am doing what I believe I must do for the people of Elkview who are suffering through this experience. It is not to be confrontational whatsoever.
Not at all. I don't think it is.
We are in need of expediency on this, and that is where I'll stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Anyone else?